Hey guys, obviously we're not in Fiji anymore. We're back here in northeast Victoria. It's definitely a lot colder than Fiji was. It's a nice day today though. We did film a chat before we left, which was meant to be this chat, but after being to Fiji we realised that we were really underprepared. So that chat is really null and void now. It didn't cover everything properly. So what I mentioned in there was that we'd done some research before we left, and the research we did showed that fishing gear is not only hard to come by but is expensive in Fiji. What we didn't realise was how hard to come by and how expensive it was going to be when we were over there. So for starters, this trip wasn't about big game fishing. It wasn't about going out charters and catching huge big fish. We did go on a charter with a disappointing outcome. That footage will be in the series somewhere. But this trip was about taking some light gear. We took 2 to 4 kilo rods, 8-pound line on one, 10-pound on the other, and we took some varying leaders. And it was about being able to fish when and where we wanted, so not having to wait for a charter and go out and do that sort of thing. We could go whenever we wanted to go. We'd go wherever we wanted to go and just flick lures. So we did the research and found out that you can't really get gear there, so we bought our gear, which we're going to go through with you in a minute. While we're here in Australia, we took that with us, and we were underprepared because I knew it would be hard to find, but not how hard to find. The jig heads are almost impossible to find in Fiji. Well, I'm going to say they are impossible because we didn't find any. I'm sure if you spent days in the capital city looking for them, wasting all your time, you may have been able to find any, but we couldn't find a single jig head. They did have plastics, not a very big range, but I think they must just fish them on hooks and sinker rigs. And the other thing that was near impossible to find is PE or braided line. We found 2 different sizes, 6-pound and 15-pound braid. That's all we could find. You're looking at about $80 a roll, and it's just fire line, so it's not top quality braid. So the main point is for you guys, if you want to do this sort of fishing, where you want to go to Fiji and you want to do some land-based general fishing, the same as you do here, flicking various lures and baits and whatnot off the bank, the things to remember are: think about everything you think you're going to need, and take that and take some more. Right? I wish I took heavier line. I hooked onto a couple of bigger fish and I got snapped off, and I wish I had some heavier line. I ended up having to buy some cheap 30-pound mono. It was terrible. It had the worst memory of any line I've ever used. It knotted, it twisted. It was dreadful. So take different weights of braid. Take 4 or 5 different weights. You can buy it in Kmart for cheapest chips. It doesn't need to be the best. So the main thing we decided before we left was that we were going to take gear with us. We weren't going to take our good gear. We were going to purchase gear for the occasion. I had a plan to give them all to one location, but after spending some time there and meeting the locals, we split the gear up. And we don't have great footage of us giving out the gear because it's a little bit awkward to give gifts away to people and we want to film it for your YouTube series. We do have some footage of some kids that we gave some stuff to. We ended up purchasing toys and balls and snacks and things for a couple of local villages. They really do it tough over there, so we don't have the best footage of us giving the gear away, but what we did was we took our cheap gear that we purchased, rods and reels, and when we were done at the end of the trip, we gave it to the locals, and the reels were brand new. We actually took our good reels to put on the cheap rods, but when we purchased the gear we made sure we bought combos, so when we could leave it there we've left rods and reels for the people. And we fished with a couple of locals and they were blown away by the difference having a rod and reel, even a cheap one, make to the amount of fish you can catch. They're using hand lines with bait. They're chasing these little coral cod, and we shifted our whole target while we were there for a bit, because the locals rely on this fishing for their food. We do it for fun, they do it because they need to eat. So what we ended up doing was we started targeting the fish that they're catching to eat, and we were giving it to the locals, and we were fishing with the locals and helping them out that way. So we did catch a lot of little fish, and we showed them that using a soft plastic and jig head can vastly increase the amount of fish they can catch. They couldn't believe how easy it was to catch fish when we gave them some techniques and a rod and reel. The other thing we did see, and that'll be in this video because I have 15 days worth of footage in folders. I'm going to go from the start to the end. So on the very second day, the first day we met Illy, on the second day he showed us a traditional technique for fishing. So that's going to include in this video, but I just want to put a disclaimer in. We found out later on that the method of fishing that he showed us is highly illegal. It's the traditional landholders' way that they've caught fish forever. It's the way he was brought up catching fish, and a lot of the locals don't like the idea that the government are changing laws and not letting them do things anymore, so they still go and do it anyway. We were lucky enough to witness it and to go out and film it, so we're going to show you that. But if you're going to go to Fiji, don't expect to see people doing it or to be able to go and do it, because it's banned. It's, as a lot of the guys say, it's cheating. So it is interesting, and hopefully you enjoy that. So overall, guys, this series is about what we discovered before we went and what we discovered when we were there, and what we caught, and leaving the gear behind to help the people out. Hopefully it's entertaining. Hopefully it's got some information for you on styles of fishing, but also if you're planning on doing this sort of trip, hopefully it helps you out in your preparation for going. So we're gonna go through day by day. We're gonna show you some bigger fish that we missed. There's some footage of some big predatory fish just swimming around in the water, and then there's lots of footage of us catching little fish and lots of fishing. There's also some other stuff in there. We visited some local villages and there was a wedding, but we're not going to focus on that. We'll focus on the fishing because we're a fishing channel. There might be a small snippet of some other things that we did along the way. If any of you guys are interested in the other things we did and you want to know anything or see any footage from the villages or any of the other stuff, just shoot us a message. I'm sure we can whip something together and put it up separately. But other than that, hopefully this series helps you out and is entertaining, and we just want to thank you guys for coming along on the journey with us. Cheers. So we're not taking our good rods, reels and tackle to Fiji because most of our gear is one piece and it's rather expensive, and it'll just get damaged or, you know, stolen, misplaced, whatever. So we're starting this video as part of our Fiji fishing trip, and we're going to show you, hopefully, how to go fishing in Fiji. So we have purchased the el cheapest of cheap lures that we could possibly get. Now that means Kmart. We have this selection of lures plus a tackle bag slash $9 cooler, which we're going to take. Oh, $8 I've been told. $8 cooler. That makes it even more fancy. And we're going to store all of our stuff in these containers from Bunnings. They're like $4 each or something. So I'm just going to quickly run through what we've got. So to start with, we're taking our own reels to go on some cheap rods that we're going to purchase. So we don't need line because our reels are already lined up. We're just going to need to take some leader. So we're taking some Hercules 15 and 20 pound leader. We're taking spin combos, 8 or 10 pound line on the reels. So we're going to have 15 or 20 pound leader depending on what we're pulling up. So we've grabbed that. Tegan's picked these because Tegan only has one criteria when she's purchasing lures, and that is that they must be cute. So she's brought these, and knowing my luck, she'll use the cute lures and clean up. So she's got some pre-rigged swim shads, soft plastic with a built-in weight. They're actually not bad for reddies and things around here, but we'll see what picks them up over there. We've gone with a pack of spinners. Now these work on a lot of freshwater varieties, and we're taking these just to see if they work in salt. We have no idea, so this is an experiment. Another cheap pack. A lot of times you buy these and you have to either rip them real hard to get them to spin. I found if you actually squeeze the blade a little bit on the edges, it gives it a bit of an arc and they spin perfectly well. I buy these cheap spinners for my boys because they love losing lures. So we've got a pack of spinners and we've got a few different hard bodies. So we've got a pack of surface poppers, so we can drag them across the top and see if we can't get some surface strikes. And we've got two sizes of minnow. So we've got a 110mm and an 80mm, just a Jarvis Walker hard body minnow. There's not a lot of detail on these. I don't know how deep they dive, but I have had my boys use these before, and Alex has actually caught a tailor on this exact one right here, so we're going to give them a run as well. So we've got some hard bodies, some surface hard bodies, and of course in salt we've got some metals. So we've got three different types. Slice, they're just an odd shaped lure that get up a bit of a wobble. Same with these fellas here. These are just what do they call them? Stingers. They're just a chunk of metal in the shape of a fish. They're shiny, and you flash it through the water, and it looks like a bait fish. And these wobbler things, which are sort of like a spoon, they obviously wobblers. So all this sort of style of lure, not these particular lures, I haven't tried, but this style of lure are known to be pretty good for salt water, so we're going to give them a run as well. So you guys will see how we go anyway. And then we've got a range of jig heads here, different size hooks, different weights, and we're going to be showing you the footage of us going into the shop soon and buying some plastics to go on them. So we will see how they go as well. But obviously the good thing with jig heads is you got your weights, your hook sizes, you buy some mix of soft plastics, and you can mix and match them back and forwards and make a sort of combination that you really like. So of course we're going to run them. So we've got these containers, we're going to put these into these containers now, and then we're going to go for a drive and purchase the rest of the things that we need. Well, we've made the trip to BCF. $5 plastics, they're bigger. So they should work well. We want some curl tail sort of swimmers. Look at that, as I say that, $5 curl tail grubs. Do you want to give them away?
Yeah.
Do you want them?
Yeah.
Pepper prawn, do I have one of them? No. Could they curl tails?
Neither.
Minnow. Oh, beautiful. Oh, look at that. I'm taking that. Oh, that was a 1.5 ounce blade. Just an endless supply of lures to choose from. This is what we're getting. I think we've got not a bad collection. Here guys, you can see the exact lures we took with us. Good mix from soft plastics, hard bodies, blades and metals. You can stay tuned to the upcoming episodes to see how we went with these in Fiji. But we hope you stick with us, because the very first episode will be our first few days in Fiji, us catching our first overseas fish and meeting Illy and seeing the traditional methods that we've talked about before. We hope you enjoyed the intro, but we really hope you enjoy the rest of the series. So thanks for being with us, guys.